Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us on this beautiful spring day. Even if there's snow on the ground, there's spring in our hearts. Je vous souhaite la plus cordiale, la plus chaleureuse des bienvenues. My name is Marjorie Northrop, and I'll be the host for this information session. You're going to hear from several people who are going to share their enthusiasm for the McGill Community for Lifelong Learning. What we're going to tell you is what we do, how we do it, and the amazing benefits of being a member of MCLL. And you don't have to be a McGill graduate to join us. We have people from all walks of life and actually from different countries joining us by Zoom, or if you live in Montreal, in person. It's your choice. So our first guest who's going to share her enthusiasm for McGill is our communications director, Madame Nadine Oskian. Nadine, here's to you.
When I left the workforce in 2020, I was, and I still am, full of energy, of curiosity, of interests. I found out about MCLL through a friend, by serendipity, really. I didn't have set plans for my retirement, so I was ready for whatever came my way, and MCLL came my way. I was thrilled with the range and diversity of the study groups offered here. So I registered for a couple of study groups, and after 2 terms, I was offered to co-moderate a study group, which I've now done for 3 consecutive terms. I really enjoy learning, and I like to take courses that are very different from what I did in my career, like history, current affairs, politics, literature, etc. So initially, MCLL satisfied an intellectual curiosity, but very rapidly, I realized that it also allowed me to meet new and very interesting people. I find that MCLL members are usually curious and therefore interesting people. They've had interesting trajectories. They're smart, they're cultured, they have things to say. I've made a few friends whom I now see outside MCLL. So it's been very enriching for me in just a couple of years since I joined. One other thing that MCLL allows me to do is to reconnect with the Montreal Anglophone community. While I did speak English at work for the last 20 years or so, in my personal life, I was disconnected from the English community, really since my high school days. So I consider myself lucky to be able to have this probe, this insight now into a community that is very much part of the Montreal fabric. Moreover, I'm amazed that MCLL is, in large part, volunteer-based. The fact that such a large and complex organization runs in good part from volunteer work is, to me, a testimonial to the vitality of this community. Plus, if I put on my cognitive research hat, what a great source of untapped data into topics such as later life learning, memory, sense of community, the building of a sense of community. So in short, I think MCLL is a hidden gem, and I'd love to contribute to make it less hidden, more visible.
Merci beaucoup, Nadine. Thank you very much for sharing your wonderful enthusiasm. You're a great ambassador for our group. So if you want to join Nadine, follow us along on this little journey. So one of our bywords is love to learn for the joy of it. Joy because we actually have fun while learning. There are no exams like in high school. So we can actually have fun while we learn. You can contribute as much or as little as you want to. So learn more about our study groups and the different ways you can attend. Shall we start? So we have several different categories of study groups. One of them is architecture and visual arts, creative writing and literature, cultural studies and travel, senior services and workshops, medicine, health and wellness, music, theater and film studies, history, politics, economics, and cultural events. Our next session is going to be our spring session, and later on we'll be telling you how to register. There are going to be approximately 40 study groups to choose from. We'd like to give you a sample of what's being offered. So we've invited a few moderators to tell you all about their own study groups and how they share their enthusiasm with their classes. So our first guest today is Sandra Frisbee. Sandra, welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good morning. My name is Sandra Frisbee, and I've been moderating study groups at MCLL for over 20 years. I've always taken the model of peer learning or learning from each other to mean that within the study group, the members are learning from each other. So in line with my own curiosity, I have moderated study groups on such things as the short stories of Carol Shields to traveling in India, from the magic of a forest to contemporary art. Many excellent moderators interpret the peer learning model to mean that the members of a particular study group are learning from the member who is the moderator. Some groups are discussion-centered. Some are appreciation-centered, such as the music groups. So you have several models to choose from. You'll hear about them with speakers who will follow me. In the spring, I've chosen to moderate a study group on myths, legends, and folklore. Hoping to steer clear of the classical Greek and Roman mythology, I would like us to explore myths and legends from a variety of cultures, or myths and legends with a commonality of theme, such as mythology and legends associated with trees, etc., with fertility, with a particular animal. If your roots are in a particular country other than Canada, you might want to explore some of the legends and folklore of that country. Another way of approaching the topic is to link several cultures together through their common folklore. Since the dawn of history, for example, all civilizations and religions have believed trees to be of great significance. I am offering to moderate this study group as a hybrid group, meaning that some of the participants will be in class, while others may opt to attend online through Zoom. You're going to hear more about hybrid groups a little bit later. We are very lucky to have as our host Susan Van Gelder, who will be in charge of all the technical details, responsible for ensuring that the group runs smoothly. Those of us at home will be able to see the members in the classroom and vice versa, so that we all feel connected to each other. Some of you may not be comfortable with giving presentations. There is a lot of help with this. Either myself or Susan can lead you through this process. And if I am, Susan is 10 times more patient, so you're in good hands. Once you actually start to do the research, you will find that the deeper you go, the more fascinating the journey, and the more you want to know. As you know, the internet is a wonderfully valuable instrument of research. And you may be amazed at the wealth of information you can get simply by typing in folklore of Bulgaria or myths associated with magpies. You will also be given a real treat learning what your member participants have discovered. So we are truly learning from each other. Thanks very much.
Wow, Sandra, that sounds really interesting. I think I'm about to sign up. By the way, the gentleman in the picture there is attending the session by Zoom, and he's having a glass of wine while he does it. I don't recommend it. However, it's up to you. Our next guest is going to talk about music. So shall we have the first slide, please? So who are these gentlemen? I think they're the Renaissance version of a rock band. And Tony Wade is going to tell us all about them. Tony, the floor is yours.
Yes. Good morning. I am giving a 5-week session in the spring. As you can see, I'm going to be away for the first part of the spring term. And the focus is going to be on the so-called English musical Renaissance, prior to World War I and just during World War I, which really started with Sir Edward Elgar and Vaughan Williams and Frederick Delius and one or two other people. And I have given quite a few study groups on classical music largely, although I did a history of jazz and repeated it. And the focus is basically on different composers or periods, has been over the last 8 or 10 years. And it is very informal. I send out explanatory information on what I am covering about the composers, the course outline. I have some CDs which I can loan to class participants if they want to listen to them. And I simply ask people to come and listen. And I always tell them that if they are bored stiff by anything they are hearing, or they dislike some of the music, or they dislike me or whatever, get up, rattle your change, leave, fall asleep, whatever. But I always prefer to have a reaction, either negative or positive. And so far, I've been very pleasantly surprised. I mean, I went into some of these courses thinking that they might turn out to be duds. And to my pleasant surprise, people really liked the music. And I think they were not pretending. And they kept asking for more. And I reassured them, thanking them, telling them that this is precisely what we're going to get. So I like their response. But it works out very well. And I try to maintain a balance between playing performances on YouTube, CD, or DVD, and allowing enough time for discussion and keeping it very relaxed and informal. And basically, that is about it. I hope you might be persuaded to sign up for my study group.
Thank you so much, Tony. I think you may have convinced this tone-deaf person to join a group about music. So, current affairs. There is nothing more current at the moment than Mr. Trump and Mr. Biden. So our past president, Jeff Seidel, is going to talk to you about current affairs. Over to you, Jeff.
Thank you, Marjorie. Hi, everyone. My name is Jeff Seidel, and welcome to my study group entitled 2024 Presidential Election. And the presumptive nominees are Biden versus Trump. For myself, it's hard to believe that this will be my 14th study group encompassing 113 weeks that I have moderated since January 2019. Our focus throughout this odyssey has been on the Trump era from the time of his presidency to present day. According to the feedback from my participants, what makes these study groups so compelling is that the theme has never been about politics as usual. Rather, as we see it, it is the period of time in which future historians will address the question of whether the United States has been able to maintain its record as the longest-standing democracy in the world. I am often asked, do we bring a particular bias to these study groups? The answer is yes. It is a bias to the truth, and my role as moderator is to produce and present the presentations in which the facts and the supporting body of evidence are open for discussion with all the participants. And boy, can it be lively. But you know what? That's what makes it so much fun. So how do we do this? My research for each presentation is extensive. I possess a personal library of over 60 books on the relevant subject matter. Many of the authors are Pulitzer Prize-winning investigative journalists, constitutional experts, as well as top legal minds. In addition, I have archived on my computer hard drive hundreds of articles from leading publications, including the New York Times, Washington Post, The Guardian, Axios, Politico, and many other news media outlets. Archived as well are thousands of hours of YouTube videos from top news networks worldwide that I use extensively in the presentations. And if that is not enough, as a member of MCLL, I'm entitled to the full access to the McGill Library and its extensive collection. You will learn more about the library when my colleague Zoe addresses membership benefits. So if you believe that this study group is for you, we offer in this spring semester, which runs 10 weeks, the following. You could either register for the hybrid group held on Tuesday of each week. My colleague Tim Skeen will present on the hybrid experience shortly. Alternatively, you can register for the online group held on Wednesday of each week. This is strictly online, in which we cover the same material as in the hybrid group. I thank you so much for your kind attention. Over to you, Marjorie.
Thank you so much, Jeff. That's really fascinating. So if you can still listen to news about Donald Trump without being sick, I recommend Jeff's course. It's going to be fascinating. So we've been talking about different types of study groups. Let's get a bit more precise about this. Some study groups are exclusively in person. That means you come down to our locale on Sherbrooke Street, and the classes are limited to 16. Our classrooms are kind of small and cozy. And these sessions take place at 680 Sherbrooke West. Or some groups are entirely online. You just plug in online, come and listen to the course. And then there are hybrid, not genetically altered, hybrid courses, where you can either go down to McGill and join with other people and also join online. So our resident cyber expert and very patient man who puts up with my ignorance of all things computer, Tim Skeen, is going to narrow this down for us. Tim, over to you.
All right, let me tell you about our hybrid classrooms. This is something that MCLL set up after the McGill was closed during COVID and everybody went online. That was a challenge in itself, but then as we reopened again, we wanted to get people back into the classroom, but people were still very enamored about being able to stay home and do everything by Zoom. So we wanted to do an option where they could do either way of attendance. And we set up a specific design in our classrooms, which allows two groups to attend at the same time, one around the table, the other group online. And we designed it so that we could have both groups feel as if they were in the same room. And it really has worked quite well. It also gives the option for a person who decided to attend in person and something comes up and they can't make it into town, they have an option of just attending with the same study group online. So how does the hybrid room work? This is one of the two hybrid classrooms that we have, and it's got some good comfortable chairs and some equipment in here specifically for the hybrid system to work. One of the first items is a microphone you see there hanging from the ceiling. This picks up quite well the voices of everybody in the room. So we can all speak online quite well. There's an 85-inch LCD screen, which gives a nice bright presentation, or during the discussion periods, the people in the room can see all the people online. And so that the people online can see who's around the table, there is a camera, which you will see the view it gives of everybody sitting around the table. And that works quite well. And then the presenter is standing at a lectern, which has a monitor and a webcam. So they are both in the room and actually attending online through the webcam. And they can see on the monitor all of the people online as we're doing a discussion. So this setup, we've worked for over a couple of years now, and it has worked very well. And it's something you might want to try. Now, if you are a online participant, what we do is that we share the room camera. So this is the view that you see in the shared content, and then you see at the same time all the other online participants. And it gives a good, well-engaged experience for everybody. And I think this is going to work quite well in the future. Once people try this, it's becoming more and more popular all the time. So this is something that maybe I will see you in hybrid.
Thank you so much, Tim. So I will not say our next guest is a party animal, but I do know that she's the life of the party, of any party I've ever attended. So our director of special events, Linda Seidel, is going to talk to you more about how we are a community of friends and learners. Linda, over to you.
Thank you, Marjorie. I love your introduction. Good morning, everyone. By now you've heard what MCLL has in the way of study groups. As the chair of Special Events Committee, I'm here to tell you a bit about the social aspect that my committee is responsible for. We start off the fall season with a See You in Almost September luncheon, where we reconnect with MCL friends we may not have seen during the summer, and we welcome new members at the same time. We've had some really successful luncheons at a restaurant with an outdoor patio, and it's a great way to start the season. Of course, we always have a holiday party in early December, and we found several restaurants that cater to a nice crowd with great food and atmosphere. If you've only taken study groups via Zoom, this is the perfect opportunity to meet the other participants. And if you intend in person, well, here's the chance to meet everyone in a social environment. MCLL is a volunteer organization. Whether you work in the office, moderate, host a study group, or if you participate in one of our committees, we like to thank you for all that you do. So, everyone in the MCLL community who volunteers gets an invitation to the thank you dinner, which MCLL hosts every June. This year, the Faculty Club of McGill is our venue, one of our favorite sites where the food is great and the ambiance even better. We also work with various MCLL committees. 3 times a year, the moderators get together to meet and talk about what makes a successful moderator and therefore a great study group. The Special Events Committee organizes a small luncheon as a nice way of thanking the participants. The Members Forum is planned for every 2 years. Here's where we get together to discuss the present MCLL and to plan the future. We encourage everyone to participate and have a voice in how they would like to see MCLL in the future. At the end of every fiscal year, we hold an annual general meeting, and since COVID, they've been online, which has enabled us to have guest speakers such as Moshe Safdie from New York, and this year's speaker was Dick Pound, addressing us from Ontario. This meeting recaps the previous year's activities, and new members of council are voted in for their 2-year mandates. Our lounge is the social hub of our space here at McGill. Every semester, a different member has the opportunity to display their artwork as the backdrop where friends gather before or after each study group. In addition, Special Events is always on the lookout for how MCLLers can get together as a group, whether on outings or at special meetings such as this open house. Basically, our mandate is to explore ways that we can meet socially outside the classroom and in person. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Linda. By the way, this information session is brought to you by a bunch of volunteers. All of us, everyone you've seen and heard now, including myself, we're volunteers. Why do we volunteer at MCLL? Because we enjoy it. It gets us out of the house, it exercises our mental faculties, and we meet new friends. So physically, mentally, intellectually, it's very helpful not only to become a member, but to join us as a volunteer if you're interested. You're probably tired of seeing a bunch of people of, as we say in French, un certain âge. So now we're going to turn over the floor to our program administrator, Zoe Troop, who's going to tell you all about how to join us. Zoe, over to you.
Hi, I'm Zoe. I'm the program administrator at MCLL, and I'm here to share more information about the costs and benefits of becoming a member. So at MCLL, we have a membership fee of $125 each term, and this gives you access to up to 20 sessions during the term, and each session is about 2 hours long and happens once a week. This means that you can register for 2 10-week study groups or 4 5-week study groups, or a combination of both if you'd like. Aside from being able to attend a variety of different study groups, becoming a member also gives you access to some amazing benefits. We have exclusive discounts with partnered organizations. At the moment, we have an exclusive $5 discount for one of the shows at the Siegel Center and over 50% off certain shows at the Centaur Theater. You can keep an eye out for more exciting partnerships to come. Becoming a member also allows you to develop skills you might not have thought you had. As a registered member, you are given access to all of McGill's software licenses, and this includes Zoom, Microsoft Word, and PowerPoint. This can also all be accessed using a personalized McGill email account once you become a member. At MCLL, we love to read. Many of our study groups are based on an interesting book, and we encourage our members to continue reading and learning. Paragraph Bookstore offers MCLL members a 15% discount, and it's located just down the street from our classrooms. Our members also have full access of the McGill libraries in person and online, which offers an enormous catalog of books, videos, and music for you to dive into. And here's a video that shows you more about why we love the McGill libraries. So now let's quickly go over how to register for our study groups. So the first thing you would need to know is how to browse through our classes. Simply go to our website, mcgill.ca/MCLL. Next slide. And click on our study group tab on the top of the page to view all of our offerings for the spring term. Our registration opens on April 2nd at 9 a.m., but to get ahead, it's important to create your profile right away. We use a program called Athena, and that's where all your profiles are stored. So once you create your profile, you will continue to use that account to register for study groups at MCLL. So while you're on our website, click on the student/instructor login on the top right corner, then click on Athena to create your profile. Your profile can be created before April 2nd. Then we move on to step 2. On April 2nd, go back onto our website study group page to register for the study groups you would like to join. You will need your Athena login to complete this process. And once you're done, you're on to step 3, and you can participate in our study groups and become a welcomed member in our peer learning community. If you need any help creating your account or have any questions about our programming, here are some key contacts. First of all, you can find pretty much everything you'll need on our website. Again, that's mcgill.ca/MCLL. The website is a great resource because many of our volunteers have put together instruction manuals on how to navigate our website and the registration platform. Secondly, we have a team of volunteers who are very happy to offer registration help over email. You can send them an email at caring.mcll@gmail.com, and they would be more than happy to guide you through any issues you might have. Last of all, you can reach the MCLL office with questions about your account, your payments, or any other concerns. Our email is mcll.scs@mcgill.ca, and you're also welcome to call us at 514-398-8234 during our office hours. Don't worry, this information will be sent to you after our presentation. We know that creating an account might not be easy for some, so we're offering help over the phone during the next 2 days, specifically to walk you through the process of creating your account before registration on April 2nd. Today and tomorrow between 1 to 3 p.m., you can give our office phone number a call and we will transfer you to one of our volunteers who are trained in the process and will hopefully make this process a little easier for you. You can call us at our office phone number 514-398-8234. And if we're unable to take your call, please leave us a message with your name and phone number and we'll get in contact with you. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Zoe. That was very informative. Now, they say confession is good for the soul. Zoe has made that look very simple. But for those of us who are less than, well, let's put it this way, my knowledge of computers could fill a very small booklet. But the people whom Zoe has mentioned, the team of volunteers, they're sweet, they're kind, they're patient. So if you have any trouble with registration, don't hesitate to call us. So I hope you've enjoyed our little presentation. If you want to see us up close and personal, if you want to learn more about us, come to attend our open house event tomorrow. The details are very clear. You can just go to 680 Sherbrooke West on the second floor. You're going to meet some moderators. You'll get all the information and assistance you need, and you'll enjoy some light refreshments. So I hope we've been pretty clear in telling you all about the wonderful benefits and advantages to becoming a member of the McGill Community for Lifelong Learning. We certainly hope you'll decide to join us, that we have convinced you. If you haven't and you still have more questions, now the floor is yours. You can ask any questions you like. You can either raise your hand on Zoom, or if you're having trouble raising your hand on Zoom, please raise your hand in the traditional way. So any questions, folks?